Hi everyone. Hello. Okay, so as people are joining in, maybe I'll just say a few things about myself. Um, I'm bad artist, or I go by bad artist. That maybe already gives you some idea of what I'm interested in. Morality, opposites, good and bad, truth and fiction, which is also the theme of today's event. The text I'm going to be reading today is what I call the wiki-loop. It's kind of like a wiki rabbit hole where you basically go into one Wikipedia page and then follow the links to different ones until, well, forever basically. But mine will be a wiki loop, meaning that it's going to end in the same page that it began with, and that's going to be fiction. It's a pre-prepared text I'm going to be reading here from my laptop. Yeah, maybe I'll wait just a few more minutes for more people to join in, and then we're going to begin. I can also say something about this part of tonight's evening. It's actually part of Artist Book Foundation. They host a performative reading like this here on Instagram every Thursday with a different artist. And you can find out more information about that here on their Instagram or their website or on their Facebook. And if you really like this program, you can also donate something through their website for all of the artists that are involved. Okay, I think we have quite a few people, so I'm just going to begin. Fiction. Fiction generally is a narrative form in any medium consisting of people, events, or places that are imaginary. In other words, not based strictly on history or fact. Fact. Fact is a thing that is known to be consistent with objective reality and can be proven to be true with evidence. For example, this sentence contains words is a linguistic fact, and the sun is a star is a cosmological fact. All of these statements have the epistemic quality of being ontologically superior to opinion or interpretation. Conversely, while it may be both consistent and true that, quote, most cats are cute, unquote, it is not a fact. The usual test for a statement of fact is verifiability. That is, whether it can be demonstrated to correspond to experience. Experience. Experience is the first-person effects or influence of an event or subject gained through involvement in or exposure to it. A large amount of learning of knowledge and skills is associated with experience. The interrogation of experience has a long-term tradition in continental philosophy. Experience plays an important role in the philosophy of Søren Kierkegaard. Philosophy of Søren Kierkegaard. The philosophy of Søren Kierkegaard has been a major influence in the development of 20th century philosophy, especially existentialism and postmodernism. Postmodernism. Postmodernism is a broad movement that developed in the mid to late 20th century across philosophy, the arts, architecture, and criticism, marking a departure from modernism. While encompassing a wide variety of approaches and disciplines, postmodernism is generally defined by an attitude of skepticism, irony, or rejection of the grand narratives and ideologies of modernism, often calling into question various assumptions of Enlightenment rationality. Criticism of postmodernism are intellectually diverse and include assertions that postmodernism promotes obscurantism, is meaningless, and that it adds nothing to analytical or empirical knowledge. Postmodernism relies on critical theory, an approach that confronts the ideological, social, and historical structures that shape and constrain cultural production. Common targets of postmodernism and critical theory include universalist notions of objective reality, morality, truth, human nature, reason, language, and social progress. Truth. Truth is most often used to mean being in accord with fact or reality, or fidelity to an original or standard. Truth is also sometimes defined in modern context as an idea of truth to self, or authenticity. The concept of truth is discussed and debated in several contexts, including philosophy, art, theology, and science. Most human activities depend upon the concept, where its nature as a concept is assumed rather than being a subject of discussion. These include most of the sciences, law, journalism, and everyday life. Some philosophers view the concept of truth as basic and unable to be explained in any terms that are more easily understood than the concept of truth itself. Major theories. Correspondence. Correspondence theory centers heavily around the assumption that truth is a matter of accurately copying what is known as objective reality, and then representing it in thoughts, words, and other symbols. Pragmatic. Quote, "We never are definitely right. We can only be sure we are wrong." Unquote. Constructivist. Constructivism views all our knowledge as constructed because it does not reflect any external transcendent realities. Rather, perceptions of truth are viewed as contingent on convention, human perception, and social experience. Verum ipsum factum, quote, "Truth itself is constructed," unquote. Consensus. Consensus theory holds that truth is whatever is agreed upon, or in some versions might come to be agreed upon by some specific group. Minimalist. To a minimalist, saying snow is white is true is the same as saying snow is white. But to say Snow White is true is not the same as saying Snow White. Philosophical skepticism. Radical forms of skepticism deny that knowledge or rational belief is possible and urge us to suspend judgment regarding ascription of truth on many or all controversial matters. Ancient Greek philosophy. In his Metaphysics, Aristotle stated, quote, "To say of what is that it is not, or of what is not that it is false, while to say of what is that it is, and of what is not that it is not, is true," unquote. Modern age. Foucault. Truth, says Foucault, is problematic when any attempt is made to see truth as an objective reality. He prefers not to use the term truth itself, but regimes of truth. Baudrillard. Baudrillard considered truth to be largely simulated, that is, pretending to have something as opposed to dissimulation, pretending not to have something. He took his cue from iconoclast, who he claims knew that images of God demonstrated that God did not exist. Quote, "The simulacrum is never that which conceals the truth. It is the truth which conceals that there is none. The simulacrum is true," unquote. Some examples of simulacra are that prisons simulate the truth that society is free, scandals simulate that corruption is corrected, Disney simulates that the US itself is an adult place. In medicine and psychiatry, there is controversy as to the true value of a proposition made in bad faith self-deception, such as when a hypochondriac has a complaint with no physical symptom. Bad faith. The expression bad faith is associated with double-heartedness, which is also translated as double-mindedness. In his book Being and Nothingness, the philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre defined bad faith, French, mauvaise foi, as hiding the truth from oneself. The fundamental question about bad faith self-deception is how it is possible. In order for a liar to successfully lie to the victim of the liar must know that what is being said is false. In order to be successful at lying, the victim must believe the lie to be true. When a person is in bad faith self-deception, the person is both the liar and the victim of the lie. So at the same time, the liar, as liar, believes the lie to be false, and his victim believes it to be true. Quote, "I must know that truth very precisely in order to hide it from myself the more carefully, and this not at two different moments of temporality," unquote. In theology, quote, I hate double-minded men, but I love your law, unquote. Quote, he is a double-minded man, unstable in attitude, unquote. Translation, quote, a person who has doubts is thinking about two different things at the same time and can't make up his mind about anything, unquote. In philosophy, psychology, and psychoanalysis, bad faith in ethics may be when an unethical position is taken as ethical and justified by appeal to being forced to that belief as an excuse, even though facts disconfirm that belief and honesty would require it. Honesty. Honesty is a facet of moral character that connotes positive and virtuous attributes such as integrity, truthfulness, straightforwardness, including straightforwardness of conduct, along with the absence of lying, cheating, theft, etc. Quote, honesty is the best policy, unquote. April 30th is National Honesty Day in the United States. William Shakespeare famously described honesty as an attribute people leave behind when he wrote that, quote, no legacy is so rich as honesty, unquote, in Act 3, Scene 5 of All's Well That Ends Well. Others have noted, however, that, quote, too much honesty might be seen as undisciplined openness, unquote. Definition. The Oxford English Dictionary defines honesty as the quality of being honest. See also, lie. Lie. A lie is an assertion that is believed to be false, typically used with the purpose of deceiving someone. Generally, the term lie carries a negative connotation. Types and associated terms. A barefaced lie. A big lie. To bluff. Bullshit, also BS, bullcrap, bull. A cover-up. Defamation. To deflect. Disinformation. An exaggeration. A fib. A half-truth. An honest lie. Lie to children. Lying by omission. Lying in trade. A memory hole. Minimization. Mutual deceit. A noble lie. Pathological lying. Perjury. A polite lie. Speaking with a forked tongue. A white lie. Consequences. The potential consequences of lying are manifold. Ethics. Aristotle believed no general rule on lying was possible because anyone who advocated lying could never be believed. In his 2008 book, How to Make Good Decisions and Be Right All the Time, Ian King suggested a credible rule on lying was possible, and he defined it as, quote, deceive only if you can change behavior in a way worth more than the trust you would lose were the deception discovered, unquote. In Human All Too Human, philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche suggested that those who refrain from lying may only do so because of the difficulty involved in maintaining lies. In other species. In one instance, gorilla Coco, when asked who tore the sink from the wall, pointed to one of her handlers and then laughed. In culture, the concept of a memory hole was first popularized by George Orwell's dystopian novel, 1984. 1984. The story takes place in an imagined future, the year 1984, when much of the world has fallen victim to perpetual war, omnipresent government surveillance, historical negationism, and propaganda. Great Britain, known as Airstrip 1, has become a province of a superstate that is ruled by the party who employed the thought police to persecute individuality and independent thinking. Big Brother, the leader of the party, enjoys an intense cult of personality despite the fact that he may not exist. 1984, a novel. Author, George Orwell. Genre, dystopian. Political fiction. Political fiction. Political fiction employs narrative to comment on political events, systems, and theories. Works of political fiction, such as political novels, often directly criticize an existing society or present an alternative, even fantastic reality. Fiction. Fiction generally is a narrative form in any medium consisting of people, events, or places that are imaginary. In other words, not based strictly on history or fact. Okay, so that was the loop, starting and finishing with fiction. Thanks for everyone who tuned in and listened through the whole thing. Now, in a couple of minutes, the last performance of the evening is going to be happening on Facebook again, or the link will be on Facebook on the Does It Have a Name event. So everyone go check that out. And yeah, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for Artist Book for having me. And yeah, keep in touch for the next Thursday for the next performative reading. Bye bye.